The Denver Nuggets fired their head coach just a month ago. Their bench has been questioned all season. They just lost Game 2 by 43 points. And they're facing a team that had one of the best regular seasons in NBA history. Oklahoma City, the youngest, deepest, most electric team in the league. SGA is an MVP finalist. Jalen Williams is a star in the making, and they've looked unbeatable at times. But here we are, Game 3, overtime, and it's Denver, not OKC, that walks away with the win, 113 to 104. They outscored the Thunder 11-2 in overtime. Jokic missed all 10 of his threes, and they still won. This was not supposed to happen, but maybe that's the point. Because if this is what the Nuggets look like in a so-called down year, what happens when they find their rhythm? Stick around, let's break down how the Nuggets just flipped this entire series. Let's be real, heading into Game 3, this was supposed to be Oklahoma City's series. They were the number 1 seed in the West. They finished the regular season with 68 wins, top 5 in both offense and defensive rating. They weren't just beating teams, they were dissecting them. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was a legit MVP candidate, leading the league in scoring. Jalen Williams made the leap. Chet Holmgren was blocking everything in sight. And most importantly, they looked connected. Fluid ball movement, relentless defense, versatility everywhere. So when they absolutely demolished Denver in Game 2 by 43 points, the narrative wasn't subtle. This series might be over. Meanwhile, Denver, a team just weeks removed from firing head coach Michael Malone, Jokic was still Jokic, but the bench looked shaky. Role players were inconsistent. Michael Porter Jr. was missing in action. And after that Game 2 beatdown, the biggest question wasn't whether Denver could win the series, it was whether they'd even show up for Game 3. And it's worth remembering, even during Game 3, Denver never blew the doors off. They didn't dominate, they didn't run off a 15-0 run, they just stayed close, possession after possession. They hung around long enough to give themselves a shot. And then, when it mattered most, they delivered. While OKC unraveled under playoff pressure, Denver tightened up. They made every rotation, got every big rebound, hit every dagger shot. And now, somehow they're up 2-1 in the Western Conference semifinals, against a team that was supposed to steamroll them. So yeah, the Denver Nuggets should not be doing this. But after Game 3, they're not just alive, they're in control. No one was expecting Denver to roll over in Game 3. Not at home. Not after getting embarrassed by 43 points in Game 2. The expectation wasn't that they'd quit, it was that they'd respond. But what we didn't expect was that they'd take back the series like this. Game 3 wasn't just a bounce back, it was a reality check. For everyone who thought OKC was about to take control. Because for most of the game, the Thunder were right there. They led at halftime. They forced Jokic into one of his worst playoff shooting nights ever. 0 for 10 from 3, 8 for 25 overall. They held the lead heading into the fourth, but here's the part that matters. Denver never went away. They didn't panic. They didn't force shots. They just kept answering, one possession at a time. And with the Nuggets down 3 with less than 30 seconds left, the ball swung to who else but Aaron Gordon. Wide open in the corner, he stepped into it. No hesitation. Bang! That shot tied the game at 102 and changed the momentum instantly. It didn't just save Denver, it broke OKC's rhythm. Overtime starts, and that's when things flipped completely. Nikola Jokic opens overtime with a finger roll layup. Michael Porter Jr. knocks down a 3 after a cold series start. Jamal Murray, steady all night, finishes in transition. In 5 minutes, Denver outscored OKC 11-2. Just like that, it's 113-104. And here's the kicker. This happened without Jokic being great. This happened because of the exact players people doubted. Jamal Murray with 27 points, 8 assists, 4 steals, the engine in crunch time. Aaron Gordon, 22 points, and the biggest shot of the game. Michael Porter Jr., 21 points, after shooting 3 for 18 combined in the first 2 games. Every time the Thunder leaned in, Denver pushed back harder. And on the biggest stage of the season so far, it was the role players who carried the weight. Oklahoma City, they didn't fold, but they flinched. SGA finished with just 18 points on 7 of 22 shooting. They forced shots, they missed closeouts, and when the game slowed down, they didn't have answers. What Game 3 really showed us is this. There's a difference between a talented team and a playoff team. Denver played like they'd been here before, because they have. OKC, still learning what it takes. And now, after 3 games, that gap matters more than any stat. The Nuggets didn't just survive Game 3, they re-established themselves. Before this series started, the biggest question wasn't about Jokic. Everyone knows what he is, a walking triple-double, the most unguardable big in the league. The question was everything around him. What happens when teams load up on Jokic? What happens when he's having an off night like he did in Game 3? The answer? You need guys who can step up. And in Game 3, they did. Let's start with Michael Porter Jr. In Games 1 and 2, he looked completely out of rhythm and that shoulder injury was getting the better of him. Just 3 for 18 combined in OKC. But in Game 3, 21 points, 5 of 8 from 3, played under control. He hit big shots early to keep Denver in it, and an even bigger one in overtime to stretch the lead. Next, Aaron Gordon. Everyone talks about his defense and athleticism, but Aaron Gordon has been Denver's most important player outside of Jokic this entire playoff run. In round 1 against the Clippers, he had the buzzer-beating dunk to close out the win. In Game 1 of this series, he hit the game-winning shot. And in Game 3, with the score tied in the final minute and OKC daring him to shoot, he buried the play of the night. A clutch corner 3 that sent the game to overtime. He finished with 22 points and made an impact on both ends of the floor all night. And then there's Jamal Murray. After being injured towards the end of the regular season, there were questions about how healthy he really was. Safe to say, he's just fine. Murray controlled the tempo in crunch time like a seasoned closer. 27 points, 8 assists, and 4 steals. He didn't just score, he directed traffic. He managed the shot clock, made reads off the pick and roll, and set the pace in overtime. While OKC was rushing shots, Murray was picking his spots. That's the difference between playoff experience and playoff noise. But it wasn't just the stars. Christian Brown made hustle plays, came up with blocks, and didn't let OKC's wings get comfortable. Peyton Watson brought size and energy off the bench. Even Westbrook, in a limited role today, gave real minutes and kept the ball moving. A month ago, people said Denver didn't have depth, that the bench wasn't ready, that they were too reliant on Jokic and Murray. Game 3 said otherwise. The role players didn't just contribute, they were the reason Denver won. And if that continues, this version of the Nuggets, deep, balanced, and cold under pressure, is going to be a nightmare for the rest of the West. Talent gets you into the playoffs, experience gets you through them. And if Game 3 showed us anything, it's that you can't shortcut playoff maturity. Oklahoma City has had an unbelievable season. 68 wins, top 5 in both offense and defense. They're young, long, and play with confidence. But in Game 3, when the game slowed down, when the possessions got tighter, they didn't look ready. They didn't get bad shots, they just got rushed ones. You could see it in their body language. The second guessing, the missed rotations. SGA, 7 of 22 from the field. Chet Holmgren, quiet late, only 2 points in overtime. That's not because they stopped being good, it's because Denver made them uncomfortable. The Nuggets didn't press, didn't get desperate, they got disciplined. That's what playoff experience gives you. You don't need a 10-point lead, you just need to survive long enough to strike. And that's where Denver thrives. Jamal Murray controlling the pace, Jokic orchestrating without scoring, Gordon and Porter Jr. making smart cuts, closing out hard and hitting clutch shots. Every decision had a purpose, every possession had a plan. And this is what OKC hasn't seen yet. A playoff team that doesn't just play hard, they play smart. Remember, this Nuggets team is championship caliber. Sure, they've been questioned, they fired their coach, but now they look like a team that nobody wants to face. Because when the game is tight and the pressure hits, they don't guess, they execute. OKC has the future, no one's denying that. But Denver, they have the blueprint. And right now, that's the difference between a 2-1 series lead and a wake-up call. The Nuggets didn't just win Game 3, they changed the series. Because now it's not about who has the higher seed, it's about who has the momentum, and Denver has it all. They didn't out-talent OKC, they outlasted them. And that kind of win, that travels. The Nuggets head into Game 4, at home, suddenly holding the advantage. They've taken the lead in the series, taking the Thunder out of rhythm, and maybe most importantly, they've reminded everyone who they still are. Let's not forget, this team won a championship 2 seasons ago. They've been in every type of playoff situation. They know what a series feels like when it shifts. And now, they've found that gear again. What's even scarier? Nikola Jokic, the best player on the planet, just shot 8 for 25 and missed all 10 of his threes. And they still beat the number 1 seed. That's not supposed to happen, but it did. Which means OKC, as good as they've been, now faces real pressure for the first time these playoffs. And they're going to have to answer the same questions Denver did. What happens when your star struggles? Can your role players step up? Can you win a close game without everything going your way? We don't know that yet, but we do know this. Denver just reminded the league that they're not done. Not even close. They've taken every storyline, the coaching chaos, the Game 2 blowout, the doubts about depth, and flipped them. And now, they're back in control of their own destiny. One more win at home and this series becomes theirs to lose. And the Thunder? They're no longer the team with all the answers. Now they're the ones being tested, and whether or not they're ready. Denver just showed us they still are. So here we are. The Denver Nuggets lead the series 2-1. A week ago, no one was quite sure where this team stood. But after Game 3, we've got a different conversation. Because whatever doubts surrounded Denver's depth, focus, or composure, they answered them. And for Oklahoma City, this is the first real test of their postseason rise. The good news? They're still in it. The bad news? Now they know how hard it's going to be. Game 4 is in Denver. If the Nuggets take it, they're 1 win away from the conference finals. If OKC evens the series, the pressure swings right back. Either way, this series just got real. Let us know in the comments. Who do you think takes Game 4? Has Denver reclaimed their contender status? Or is this just a stumble for a young Thunder team still built to win? If you're enjoying these deep dives into the 2025 NBA playoffs, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We've got a lot more coming because this series, it's far from over.